Alright folks, we're back. Thanks for watching that commercial break for us. We are already in the lobby for Dawson Station. It is going to start with the ZvZ as we get into the final semifinals for Nerchio versus TLO.
Yep, I just pressed the play again button.
Actually, I guess this is like one of the rare times you can do that, right? Just easy peasy it up.
Yeah. Thanks, Bly.
Anyways, before we get into the game, quick shoutouts to Riamar. He just gave us a Deus Ex game key to give away. That's what the raffle is currently open for. So if you want to play Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which I do believe is the most recent, the newest iteration of the game, check the raffle for our raffle help in chat if you guys want to get in on it. It costs 5 tickets into the raffle, a maximum of 100, and anybody can enter. You can be brand new to the stream, you can be a long-time subscriber. As long as you got 5 partoofs to afford 1 ticket, I wish you the best of luck. But we are in a best of 3 for the semifinals of the Corsair Cup. Big thank you to Corsair for making this possible, guys. Do us the biggest favor that you can. And check out the links down below for the Corsair Gear, even if you don't plan to buy any. I'm hoping, like I've been talking about for months now, hopefully in October we'll have some goodies to give away from Corsair, and I'm looking forward to that. But spawning here on the bottom right side, it's going to be the foreign terror himself. Not Terran, terror. It's Nerchio.
Thought I misheard. And in the top left, as the blue Zerg, he is Liquid TLO.
Yeah, I definitely said that wrong, so that's why I corrected myself.
There you go. Well, I feel like TLO was red just now, so I have to get this right.
He was.
TLO going for the hatchery pretty quickly, but Nerchio only slightly behind on that, not a big deal. As basically none of them going for early pools means that Dawson Station will actually play out normal-ish in the beginning here. But I am interested, as I spoke to last time, if they're going to either one of them's going to skip speed. Oh, pretty delayed click, have fun. If anything, I'm going to skip speed and go for direct to Roaches and Ravagers. As you know, of course, they're both going to take the gold base. You can't abuse it if you go around the back. And that can be pretty big.
Yeah. Again, it can be as little as like a spine crawler, 1 Ravager,
Hey.
you name it.
Look at that, Nerchio. Got my back.
I'll be going around TLO's back too.
Heyo. Well, TLO is going to invest in speed, so it's always interesting because Dawson does seem to be one of the maps, along with like Frozen Temple. I would say. I did it. Okay. Where you can skip speed. Otherwise, you would think ZvZ is always speed, then Banelings, then maybe Roaches. That's the safest way to go about. But unfortunately, if they do kind of get away with going for Roaches first, I feel the Speedlings don't have much of a part to play for the first 6 to 7 minutes.
Yeah,
Once the rocks are broken down, then they can do their thing again.
I mean, the timing is if Nerchio walks that 1 Roach around the map, you should still have time to make the Ravager, get the Roach over there. Even if the Lings are attacking the rocks, it'll be low, but shouldn't be done in time, I think. But Nerchio might not be going for the back rocks. He's got nothing rallied that direction. He might just be looking for frontal attack. Oh, excuse me. Here comes that 1 Roach. There we go.
Well, I was owing at the Evolution Chamber for TLO, so like I said, once the rocks are broken down, Speedlings running around the map is actually kind of scary on Dawson Station, but without it, or maybe with instead Overlord drops, I guess you can kind of circumvent that. But it seems like it's not going to be for Overlord drops, it is going to be this +1 style, so it's very interesting, in fact, to see a pure Ling style on Dawson Station.
Ooh, looks like the
rocks... They would have been
rocks...
expected the follow-up of Roaches for TLO.
He actually got the rocks down in time, too. We've seen this happen too many times where the rocks don't get down in time, but regardless, TLO wasn't looking, so 3 drones get picked off by the first Ravager shot. Not too shabby. You'll have to come back and deal with that, of course, before running across, but Nerchio now going to be aware, oh, there might be something coming from the south, not just the north. Spinecrawler should be able to cover his base out here, and yeah, that's why he's going to move one back to the mineral lines, ideally, I think, to also try and cover this. A little bit messy, a little bit scary, but no panic from Nerchio. He's actually responding very calmly and cool.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I mean, it's really nice for him to get the 2 spine crawlers early on. He kind of had that to invest into because he skipped speed for so long. That,
by the way, is what I think I envy most out of pro players. Because casting and game knowledge, like, I know exactly what should be done in a lot of the situations where I'm in these spots, but I'm still panicking. I'm like, fuck, move, get, no, ah! Like,
yeah. Well, TLO, So he did go for the +1, and that makes the Ling scarier, you know, throughout all the time, right? But does still go into roaches. And I don't know if TLO's plan has quite worked, right? You know, since Nerchio is calmly responding on both sides of things, and now he even has his own speedling to help out. It feels like TLO just invested in a lot and hasn't gotten anything, and as such, he's behind in multiple ways in this game, which might cause him a loss.
Yeah, the army supply being the most devastating. You'd think with all those Lings out, he'd be one with more to work with, but because Nerchio hasn't had to do much, and TLO is trying to drone still, I don't know if his spine car defense is going to work out for too much longer. He just gets surrounded with some of these roaches. This was actually a really smart move to try and take this fight, but as we can see, oh, he should have dived for that Ravager, I think.
Probably.
Two of them really, really low.
Oh, I thought he was. No, they're still not. Link's not getting a bad round, and finally +1 did finish, so they're a little more effective, but you know, usually where the slow roaches would be like walking across another, you know, bigger map, they're really instantly reinforcing. And this is going to be a big problem for TLO. Just can't get enough units out to defend.
He pulled the drones into this too. He does hold this first fight. The +1 melee actually helped chew through that really nicely.
Surprising. The drone pool plus the +1 melee ended up not being so devastating. So he was already a little behind in drones. Oh, might have been ahead.
I really did think that the +1 melee was not going to be enough of anything to help influence, but hey, if it works, it works. And right now, TLO is not too shabby of a spot. As he goes for counterattacks down here to the south, he could actually just run right through Nerchio's base and take one of the more open ones. So there's only one spine defending the main after all.
Yeah. And Nerchio did replace roaches, realizing a counterattack could have gone down, so he has them as well as spine crawlers.
Speaking of running through, Nerchio's at this base on the right side, which TLO I guess is now going to realize.
Oh, hey-oh. That might be free.
Take advantage of it. Cool.
Yeah, +1's gonna take this very quickly. Roach speed is not gonna be done for Nerchio. Of course, he's only halfway done his lair, so this is swapped. Nerchio seemed to have a really good lead. He had an economic lead. He had an army supply lead. It's now swapped to TLO having faster speed, a nice army, and even drone counts, but just better tech and better potential as we do talk about these third bases. This is what I was talking about when it comes to Lings. Like, it kind of feels they can be useless in the first 6 minutes or so, but once you have to reach for bases on Dawson Station, you know, Lings running around is actually very helpful.
By the way, quick shouts to the again, the game Remar is giving us the raffle. About 7 minutes left on the raffle from the time you hear me say this, and only about 20 people have entered, so your chances are not bad, even if you only buy one ticket. Again, I say buy, but it's with imaginary currency, so take from that what you will. Roach fight on the front side, not going to go too badly, but the spine collar is going to be more than enough to defend such a low amount of units attacking. Top side, +1 melee is good, but it's not going to overcome this many Lings of a difference, so TLO's got to run back and hope those reinforcements pop soon.
Well, he still has that +1, so his Ling should always be more effective.
Yeah, but I mean, like, this is still too many, I think, actual Lings for Nerchio.
Okay, run, buddy.
Hey, it seemed to have worked. Let him get out of there.
Alright then. +1 is going to still be ahead for Nerchio, so I don't know, it's kind of hard to say if he has an upgrade lead, because these Ling fights are really important, but of course, it's probably going to be coming more and more to Roach fights as the time goes on.
Yeah.
It's a very slight difference in Roach upgrade leads.
Killing the Overlord scouting in the middle of the map's going to be nice. No more vision of what's coming and when it's coming until it's right at your doorstep. Takes out that spine crawler pretty easily with that corrosive bile. Backs away and wants to take the fight, but Nerchio's +1 just kicked in. Will that be enough of a lead? They're pretty even on Roaches and Ravagers after all. Meanwhile,
wow, this really sucks that TLO doesn't have his +1 yet.
It's so close to finishing too. 10 seconds to go, but it's not too bad of a fight for it yet. The Ling attack on the right side didn't get the spine crawler, and looks like Nerchio's going to hold on over there. TLO deflected, has to back away. Lick his wounds a little bit. But both players, like, I'm actually curious what the income graph's going to look like. Okay, so it's a little bit better for TLO. I guess it makes sense because that third base was not exactly smoothly placed up, whereas TLO's was. But this is something where they are still on relatively close drone counts. Nobody's really skyrocketing ahead just yet.
Yeah, TLO's starting to, you know, 1 or 2 drones at a time, but another fight goes down. I mean, the good news is for these Roach Wars, since they both have speed now as well, is that you should never accidentally over-dedicate and then die to a counterattack, although that can happen. But you should be able to smartly realize, like, okay, it's not going to work out. And at worst, you just save the Ravagers and buy more time with Corsair Bows in the retreat. So it's pretty safe for TLO to poke like that. It is a little scary, though, just in case Nerchio suddenly wrapped him around with, like, 20 Lings. That could be devastating. He went bear hug.
I gotta say, by the way, I thought this would be a much more one-sided game, a much more one-sided series, and while the series part's still to be determined, this first game has been really nice, and a lot more clutch in some instances than I thought it would be. TLO, especially with that defense around that gold.
This might be the longest ZvZ we've seen on this map. At least, I don't know about longest. We might have seen like other games where the Ling Wars went back and forth for a very long time, but this is like the most standard ZvZ we've seen.
So let's pretend for a moment that this is that ZvZ that goes to, say, Ultra versus Ultra, right? Is that even a good choice on this map due to the tight chokes and the lack of spacing for them?
You know, I feel like we discussed this before, and I think we said no, Ultras wouldn't be that good.
Well, I like the Spire out of TLO, because whether this leads to later game tech or just Mutas for now, either way, because maybe he, like, you know, he killed Bly and ate his heart for courage and his brain for tactics, like, it's gross to think about, certainly, but the Spire I think is a good move. I really do like it.
The good news is this is once again a Spire that is off of 3/4 bases, so you have the safety like, oh shit, he's attacking me, let's just build roaches, and you're only missing 200 because TLO actually wasn't accruing that much of a bank until now, and it's not even that big, right? So unless Nerchio really was like, pinpoint, this is when I attack, TLO is going to be able to get a couple Mutas out. Now that's still scary, I would say, because 7 Mutas isn't going to help that much, and Nerchio does not have a long road to travel to attack. So, you know, whenever he does, he's going to have this lead and actually very forceful. In fact, he just goes around, so TLO only has a portion of his army here anyway. Mutas still haven't popped yet, and they're only going to be able to help out so much. At least his +2 finished up, you know, this time. Equal on that front.
I actually think the Roach numbers should be able to hold on long enough for TLO for these Mutas to start winning out, but they're eating corrosive biles. However, they are systematically targeting the Ravagers in the backside. And while TLO's ground army is slowly starting to lose out, his air army should be able to clean this up. There's really not that much left. Attack on the downside, though. He actually just runs right through the mineral patches. Thank God he mined those out.
Look at that. Yeah, this isn't devastating damage, and the Mutas they'll take a lot of control as long as they can clean this up.
It's 11 workers killed for dominance of the army and potential map control following it up. I really think for TLO, he ends up a little bit better off for this. Even though he did lose like 11 workers and that looks hectic. But Nerchio's no fool. He's putting down a lot of spore crawlers. He's not underestimating the strength of these Mutas. And he's even going for an infestation pit behind this too.
Well, here's where it becomes really problematic for Nerchio. He was already having such trouble getting his 3rd base up at a decent time, thanks to the speedlings with +1. His 4th base might take forever to get up now. And they've been on 3 bases for a very long time. So it actually could be pretty devastating. He's mining out of his main, he's mining out of his natural because it's a gold base, and even though his 4th is like the safe 4th, you know, it's supposed to be what was the 3rd, it still won't be protected by creep, funnily enough, and it won't have any spore crawlers near it. So he's really gonna have to wait until the infestors give him a lot more confidence before he can take that. Yeah. And TLO should just start like sprinting forward here with army supply.
Let's hope that while TLO was gnawing on the brain of Bly there to get his tactics, he didn't also swallow a tumor by mistake and gets that bad fungal that kills all the Mutas the same way he did to him. There's a lot of transitive properties I'm assuming happening here.
Like, I can't, like, it's one part iZombie, but then it also reminds you a little bit of Final Destination, where you're, like, trading your deaths. Like, I didn't die in that plane crash, but then I took the guy that died for me.
Right.
It's tumor, so I'm gonna die soon anyway.
Well, regardless of this, TLO, I guess, unlike Bly's game, he really didn't invest in too many Mutas. This was control of the map Mutas, and they're certainly getting that done. And by not investing another 1,000 minerals, 1,000 gas, and 10 more Mutas, he won't lose them all in one single bad, terrible engagement either. At least there's no risk the same way it was before. Oh. Gets on top of the infestors, though. Fungal's not quite available, so Transfuse is going in like nuts to keep these alive. And even though the Fungals land, trading out for that base plus the infestors, that's got to be worth it for TLO.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
the
man.
Base, all 4.
Yeah, look, he's going to pounce.
Over.
He's going to pounce from 2 different sides. I think this front attack might get stalled out. Nerchio should be able to actually hold on to this. But his entire army responds, leaving him vulnerable in the back. Mutas picking off some Mutas or Overlords, but the Roach is coming from that backside. And TLO realizes, man, He doesn't have that many units. TLO's got a massive army supply lead. If he fights all in once, I think he wins. But Nerchio's trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I was like a little worried actually about this whole duo attack going on here. On one hand, he could have sniped a base that was still mining gas at the very least. On the other, he could have lost half his army and then his other half of his army.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
lost his lead.
A little bit risky. No cancel up here. Nerchio getting a little bit panicked, I guess, trying to respond to these roaches and ravagers. TLO's stuck in the corner.
Trapped. But the other half of the army comes in.
Yeah, and there we go.
I don't think I should try and save the other army. I think definitely go for the base snipe.
I'd say go for the main even. I mean, like, taking the naturals a gimme, but the main's where the important stuff is. Either way, takes the best fight that he can up here in the north, trades out with the Ravagers, comes in with the rest of his army, and he really wants to get on top of the rest of that army and win this game through the army fight, but I don't think there was a necessity to. Either way, TLO's doing great right now. It's hard to criticize. He's up 20 workers. He's got 4 bases. He's going to be in a prime spot to take this game, even if mistakes are made.
I don't think he can make a mistake now that his army's all collected. GG.
TLO takes the first game from Nerchio, and I will call that a bit of an upset. A little bit unexpected, to say the least. But the other side of the bracket has been decided. Stylish, aka Live versus Guru. We'll be casting that after, guys. People have been asking. We do cast both semifinals, so they're on pause waiting for this one to finish. We won't hold these guys up for too long, but we will go to a small commercial break while they decide what map's next, so don't go anywhere, and we'll see you guys soon. Alright, back in action for game number 2 of the Corsair Cup. Once again, big thank yous to Corsair making all this possible, all these great, fun games we would not be having if this tournament didn't exist. So once again, whether you own some Corsair gear or whether you want to buy some Corsair gear, make sure to check out the links down below and look for all the cool new stuff. They came out with the RGB mouse pads at PAX, got displayed. Those look pretty sweet. A little bit more flashy than perhaps super duper practical, but still nice nonetheless. On top of all the other good stuff that they have. But in the top left side of Frost, we got the blue Zerg player, down one of the series. What? It's Nerchio.
In the bottom left as the red Zerg now. It is Liquid TLO.
I guess I want to make fun of you for struggling with this, but I've also on occasion caught myself off with colors, but not this bad.
Well, it's not that bad right now that I have it like I've noticed, but it's liquid should have blue. That's what I'm saying.
I feel you on that one. I actually totally agree. But while we get into this, thank you to Marijuana. 8 months is one more month till a new baby is born. Uh-oh. I know he said vampire, but I'm going to say baby instead. But Zombie, the raffle's done, so would you mind giving me a countdown to drawing the winner?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And with 76 people entered into the raffle, the winner is... Oh, Stu Matt 7734, but they're not following the channel.
Oh,
and while we didn't have rules about it, that's just courtesy. So we're gonna move. I'm sorry, Stu Matt. We're gonna move on and redraw a new winner. Backtrack 1 is not only following the channel, but a subscriber to BaseTradeTV. So unfortunately for the other fella, this should be a lesson for everybody else. And congratulations to Backtrack 1.
Yeah.
So if you can't get in contact with Riamar, he has pasted me the key, and I'll get you set up with that after the stream. But you'll have to wait like a couple hours if you want to go through me, because I can't do 2 things, 3 things at once.
Well, it's Frost. It's, you know, not cross spawn, but still a big map, and you know we're gonna probably see a basic opener for both parties. Frost is another map where you can actually wall off with Roach Warren and Evo Chamber, but I don't think it's as popular as Frozen Temple. Oh, TLO might have to do it. He's going for a super fast lair, so...
Whoa, yeah.
If Nerchio does attack, that's like his only defense. Dang. So this is, of course, very greedy. It's, you know, without speed. He's not going to get roaches with it.
It's not just that, but it's risky above all else. I mean,
I like that he goes for... Of course, he has to go for the wall off, right? He might get a couple of roaches, and he might even go into roaches, like roach speed, but he actually has no units right now. That's why it's so greedy. But Nerchio wasn't prepping for an all-in anyway, so by the time he realizes, like, oh shit, like, how greedy were you? It's already going to be, you know, long gone. But still, this is the whole thing about, like, speed versus no speed. Now Nerchio will have a faster third base, and sure, he won't have roach speed, but he might be able to get, like, a +1 on his speedlings and still be effective against roaches as they move across the map. Like, I don't know if I super like that TLO went for the super greedy lair time just for roaches. It would have been cooler to see mutas, but... That's what I'm for.
I agree with the Mutas, but to talk about the speed for a moment, there is this really very actual dynamic where with speed you can pick and choose a lot of fights how you please. The same way we've watched Ravagers kite around just hatchery tech units, Roaches with speed can be super annoying to deal with. Because unlike Lings, they're far enough away, they're not dedicated when they get that attack off. So Nerchio might have, say, 10 Roaches to like the 12 or something of TLO, but Nerchio can't always fight TLO.
This is interesting. With such early speed, yeah, he could have just attacked from here. And he's not getting any drones right now.
Yeah, looks like he's going for the all-in.
Well, Nerchio sees this, and that's suspicious seeing, like, 5 Roaches moving across the map this early. So, yeah, he knows to defend against something, but... Alright, TLO is... Extractor tricking, first of all, but also...
yeah.
No, that's even an extractor trick, was it?
I think it was to get 2 extra drones out while the Overlords were finishing.
I didn't see a supply block or oversupply. It was all what I was curious about. Anyway.
Okay, I don't know. By the way, I think your phone is ringing.
Yeah, you'd think my mom would pick it up, but apparently not. I actually took the phone away from my room since it used to ring so damn loud. And I never pick it up anyway. I don't think I can help it.
You know what you need? You need that dream phone or whatever. That game where like the cute guys would call.
Sure about that. But this actually was bad for... Well, I wouldn't say devastating for TLO. I don't think it's what he wanted.
I would actually.
He got surrounded before +1 was done, which I don't think was the purpose.
Well, it's not only that, but you lose out on the ability to abuse that speed now. And that was a considerable amount of Roaches to do a fast layer for. Like, it doesn't put him out of the game, but that completely shuts down his attack. And because it looks like that's his entire game plan, I would say that was pretty devastating. Huge swing attack going to come in. And this Roach is plugging the hole here. This Roach is in the mineral line over here. TLO's actually really well positioned to defend himself against Nerchio, but it just sucks that he's defending now instead of attacking, because this gives Nerchio time to get his own speed.
I actually really a lot of kudos to Nerchio for defending so well, as I would say that's a pretty surprising build and to anyone else. To go for such an early lair, for such an early speed, for an actual attack, where there are some other builds, right, where you get the wall off and it's a bit slower, it's a lot more economical, and you're not looking for a main attack like that. That could have been, I think, a bad, misread, but Nerchio's totally on top of things. And that links around is just perfectly timed, too. Just right before TLO's +1 finished. But the game continues on, and no one's really so worse for wear. Because Nerchio had to defend, he didn't really drone so hard to take advantage of his faster third base. The army supply is pretty even, and some of it's in these lings that aren't getting too much done, although, hey, look at this. As I say it, get 3 drones and then leave. They have the potential to get a lot done, actually, because they do have an upgrade on them. Thanks to Carapace. TLO is going to be getting an upgrade lead. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, he would. Yeah, it's +2. I can do numbers. He will get an upgrade lead, which I think makes sense considering how quickly he went for the upgrades and the lair. Making sure that he's not doing anything tricky, like moving into a Spire or a Quick Initiation Pit. And it's just going into a Roach game. Roach.
It's interesting because I think TLO, again, like, he's not out of the game for the way this went. His opening didn't screw him because it wasn't like super greed for Mutas. Well, again, I really wish it would have been Mutas, but I'm wondering if he can play that same late game versus Nerchio. Because what we saw in Dawson Station was a lot of really clever split attacks going behind the bases and all that stuff, but it ultimately was a macro game that TLO won out really hard in eventually. And I'm wondering if Frost will give them the same opportunities. Like, do both players just get stuck on 4 bases because it's Frost? I mean, you take your corner of the map and then you can't move out any further.
Well, kind of funny how this game equalized and looks pretty normal, despite what early on was a very different opener. But it has, and now TLO's even got a little bit of a lead in those upgrades. He is only on 48 drones, so I do worry about him moving on the map like this, especially since Nerchio's lings are still around. Almost 30 of them, roaming around, going for your third base, or getting us around. Like, I think he's looking for here. They're coming back. They're going to stall out TLO's retreat.
Yeah, force him to fight. And this is not a fight necessarily he wants to take. I mean, he might have an upgrade lead, but the Corrosive Biles and the numbers game is too much out of Nerchio. Finally does clear out those lings and starts running back to his Ravagers. Almost finished up over here.
Yeah, that wasn't terrible though. Like that could have been a lot worse, I think, if he had even upgrades, you know, like an extra 5 seconds surrounded like that he can't break through the lings could be a big deal. But not so bad. And now he doesn't have to worry about the lings roaming around. That could be something to load up his mind.
By the way, because a lot of attention being drawn to TLO's APM in chat. It's been addressed many times before, but maybe you're a first-time person watching us cast TLO. His APM spikes like crazy because there's a bug in game that interacts with the way he does hotkeys. He's aware of it. Everyone's aware of it. And I always think it's so funny that there's that guy who comes in and sees this like, man, this guy must be typing like 1 million buttons a minute. How did you do it?
Make banelings. It's actually funny because this is a glitch that occurred before, so a lot of people who don't know the exact reason have good guesses. Because like Dongo Gear got up to like 1,000 once when he started making banelings. Because that can happen. But no, it's the hotkey issue.
Yeah, so again, he's not actually got 2k APM rocking and rolling here as he slowly moves away from Nerchio. Now, army supplies are still pretty big, and Nerchio's about to gap that difference when it comes to, or bridge that gap. 2-1 versus 2-1 by the time this attack begins should be the case. TLO, unfortunately, I would say, though, has such a large part of his army missing from his defense that he might not be able to defend this third base. Corsair Battles can make a world of difference, though, depending on who lands what, but the base itself looks like it's probably going to go down. Drones got stacked up a bit there, but they're not actually being retreated, which is a small problem, perhaps, if they end up eating any of these Corsair Biles. Broodling's going to help out with the fight, though, soak a couple of hits, but it's still not going to be enough for TLO. He, on the other hand, as well, is going to knock down one of Nerchio's bases, so while not a full-on base trade, a minor base trade nonetheless. 8 spine crawlers come down out of just hectic defense. Nerchio's really he's going to go all the way with this. He's not looking to come back home. He wants to actually base trade this. He wants the ace 1, ace 2.
He needs to hurry up and go then, I would oh, what? Okay, this is awkward.
Why
so
build the 8 spines if you're going to come home?
Yeah, that's what's so awkward. So what's funny, though, is that I guess he had so much more, like, he just had money, okay? So the 8 spine crawlers aren't taken away from his drone counts, that's actually still above TLO, or his army count, that's also still above TLO. So it's kind of funny to see him retreat after building 8 spine crawlers and the potential to continue pushing in, but he's not exactly in a worse position for it. In fact, he's still in a really good one. I love TLO's idea, though, to go for the burrow and the tumbling claws.
I think it's a good idea, too. Unfortunately, the donation thing bugged out once again, so I'm going to force play the test donation version of what that should have been. $2 coming in for that largest donation spot. Thank you, Alive Game. He also, in chat, writes, playing it!
Amazing. Thank you for that. Well, things have calmed down a little bit, so what's really crucial about what TLO is doing is that he's actually able to get to it, you know?
Yeah,
because if this hadn't calmed down, he'd just be investing in things that isn't helping him, and he might have died already.
What's interesting, furthermore, is the tunneling claws may help versus the mutas. I mean, TLO last game, or no, sorry, excuse me, I think it was versus Bly. He had Overseers, he had Spore Crawlers. Like, that game we saw how little tunneling claws could work. But this game...
You have to reveal it, though. There you go.
Well, he reveals Burrow, but... Oh, God, the Corsair Biles. Hey, he moves! Just slightly. Tunneling Claws goes in. I'm not sure if Nerchio realized that in the few seconds that was gone. He sees the ground moving, perhaps? No, he's shooting at the Ravagers. He's not shooting at the Roaches.
This is so silly. There's actually a lot of stuff going on right now as TLO wanted to commence the Burrowed Roach attack,
there's the Overseers. There's the Overseers coming in.
Oh, I thought there was detection. I guess it was just actually not a Burrowed Roach. Okay, so he does get through the spine crawlers. That's pretty important, but the good news is Nerchio could reposition those so that the attacks don't continue, and overseeing each base and 2 spine claws in each base would really help.
Alright, well, detection is going to be the numero uno thing to make sure that this doesn't get out of hand. The burrowing aspect of this, too, though, is also good because, as we see, you go right through your opponent's Roaches and get on top of their very squishy Ravagers. There's a little bit of healing factor to mention as well, but TLO's army supply not holding up so well. He's about to have to deal with spine crawlers on top of this, and I don't know that he's going to get this base kill. But because he never retook his own third behind it, he doesn't have money to deal with the Mutalisks. The Infestors coming out aren't going to be enough. I think this is game.
GG. Love the idea, but I think revealing it really sucked.
Yeah.
He should have gotten at least
Well-
like what I want to say 20 drone kills when he split up like that before the overseers were made, and then that could have been a different game. He might still have lost the war and the game, but it would have been closer.
Even when he revealed it, though, it was... Oops, sorry, hit the test donation button again. Even when he... Oh, test donated $99. Shout out to Base Trade. Even when he revealed it, though, I don't know that Nerchio saw it immediately, though, was the thing. Because that Overseer wasn't made immediately. He was busy still corrosive biling down the units that were burrowed. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, so question, I know you mentioned this in the past about resetting the session. I'm wondering if that's something on my end I can do here, and that's why this isn't coming up?
It could be. So, the reason I asked about the text is that you have a top donator, and you sometimes have to reset it so that it doesn't.
No, so I'm
keep
doing
it
that
forever.
So I'm doing that
Oh, okay. So you are
manually.
doing that manually. All right. So
Yeah.
that might be the issue. If you go to Twitch alerts, the thing, there should be like a reset or something like that.
I'm looking, but I don't know where that would be.
But I don't know if that actually is on Twitch alerts dashboard. I use stream labels too, so
Oh,
I never
where's
looked.
the Stream labels tab.
Mm,
I mean, I have stream labels, but it did the thing for me that you had, where like it's my channel, not yours, and I couldn't get it to fix, so that's why I'm doing it manually.
oh yeah, you have to uninstall it. That also.
Oh boy. Well, that might be the problem, because I was gonna say, it really has only been these last 3 days there's been issues, so I don't know. Either we're gonna go to game number 3, guys. No commercial break. That was a good game, great series, tied up now 1-1, and this will determine everything. Shout out by the way to Artanis is my bro for the 8-month resub. Artanis,
Nice.
Artanis, when he got introduced to StarCraft, he was like this really dorky scout, and like who used scouts, right? Like he was not a guy expected to be this badass motherfucker in Legacy of the Void, where he's just like slamming the ground and killing all the Zerg. Oh, he was so cool. That boy, you know what he did? Artanis was like Bly. He hit his puberty between Brood War and Legacy of the Void, and just like, damn.
Amazing.
Or Lucira,
mean-
or I guess, is it just all Zerg that do that with real life? I'm just saying, like...
Zest kind of did that. Like, he was always good looking. He always had a good facial structure, but I would say he jumped
I mean,
from Brood War to StarCraft 2.
You know, another big example is Slivko. Oh my god, if anyone's seen pictures of
Oh, that
Slivko, that
guy.
dude's scary. It's not even, like, sexy, it's scary, is what it is. But anyways, we were tied up 1-1. We'll talk about cute boys later. In the bottom right side, he is the cutest boy at the moment. It's gonna be the Red Zerg TLO.
The top left, as the blue Zerg, he is Nerchio.
Okay, so once again, we don't have anything too weird coming out of these guys. I think we are really past this stage where, if you remember, I want to say it was almost like 6 months of Legacy of the Void was, okay, 14, 15, 11, 13, like just bouncing around these random pool timing, gas timing numbers to find out what was the most efficient to beat your opponent's early pool and early gas. Like, that was the only way this matchup got played for such a long period of time, too.
Yeah. There was the initial panic of every Zerg player who listened to the pro Zergs that it would just be early pools all the time. That's how you would win. That's how I win. I have to play as ZvZ, but
I queued the wrong race. Well, it looks like we're early pooling, guys.
and that's exactly what happens. If I'm I feel really bad too, because whenever I play random, this is when it happens, and I'll get a ZvZ. I'll tell them I'm Zerg, but there's always a chance they don't believe me, and then I early pool them, and it just makes me look like a random cheeser. You know, the guys that play random so that they can cheese. I'm usually not, I swear. Just ZvZ it's too difficult, man.
Random combined with cheesing is the result of me losing 4 or 5 games and just being on tilt. And it's like, you know
so
what?
you get it back.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I can get that.
That's how I got my groove back. And Whoopi Goldberg'd it.
Well, this is not going to go well for Nerchio, but I like that he's stalling it out. Like, he could have instantly retreated back to his queen, mommy, but he's actually going to get TLO to chase him back home. So, 6 lings. They could have gotten, like, a drone kill, probably at worst, but not going to do anything now. game goes on. It is Frozen Temple, so like we saw in Frost, there's this dynamic where the wall is so small and so close to your hatchery that the creep spread gets there fast enough, unlike, what, New Gettysburg? Yeah, I think so. That you can do this wall off, and there's some tricky things you can do. So TLO, as long as he's doing anything tricky because he's investing in that +1, but he's done things like get the wall off with the Roach Warren, yet still go for a Spire. Not going to be the case here. He's actually going to get a good scout. Pretty good scout, yeah, even with slow links.
Yeah, nice scout out of TLO. I just made the best shit post on Twitter I've made in a long time. Oh, that feels good. By the way, if you guys aren't following me and Zombie Grub on Twitter, you totally should. At Riff_Kings and at ZG Gaming. A little bit of self-promotion there.
I don't see it.
It's in reply to Huck.
Oh, damn.
Anyways, Queen combine these roaches to make sure that nothing breaks this wall anytime soon. Right now I got like the damn it feels good to be a gangster song like going in the back of my head.
That is so bad. Anyway.
This is where you're like, publicly no comment. I'm not affiliated with this gentleman for the next 5 or so minutes. We can be friends again after, however.
Oh, God.
It was Roach Speed for TLO. We'll finish up in a moment. But the Carapace versus the weapon upgrade will be an interesting dynamic. Because for Nerchio, if he's worried about dealing with lings, and TLO is going to have some potential banelings here. If he's worried about dealing with the banelings, the Carapace is going to be really nice for his fodder, his lings on the front lines. They don't really need to live to do more damage, but each ling needs to soak up a shot from the roaches. They are the most biologically inefficient point defense drone you've ever heard of. And if they can soak up enough hits that Nerchio's roaches don't get hit behind it, he's going to win that roach fight, despite that +1 advantage that TLO might have.
It is very interesting to see the banelings. So, I do wonder if this is going to be used offensively. You know, we talk about how the dynamic works in the actual fight. Or it is just the defensive, like, okay, I know you have speedlings over me, and I don't want to be constantly running back to my natural and main and third.
Oh, that wasn't a test donation.
Did I actually beat the other one?
Yes, and it should have been the stupid sound again, but it wasn't, so we're going to play Godard for him.
That name, though.
Yeah, thank you to Niels Krijiger. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce that. $22.35, biggest donor of the day. Thank you so much for being the best Korean caster we've heard. And I got, oh god, I gotta type that and somehow not spell that wrong. Good luck me.
So, what was I talking about? Oh, right, that the speedlings would be able to run around and deal with them. So I think it is probably for both, column A, column B. Offensively, they can take care of 20 slow lings that get this around. Defensively, they can just be placed in key locations and not thus have not to worry about Nerchio ever getting counterattacks in. I think both are going to be viable. Unfortunately, with +1, they're going to have to be double the amount of banelings, but it's still helpful. And the game continues on. TLO, of course, with that +1 upgrade for his Roach's missile attack already done, but Nerchio won't have bad upgrades. He's going to have 1-1, so 1-1 to 2.
I just realized this guy's name. I love it, by the way, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but every time Zombie Group is like, Mike Jigger, that's kind of like, this feels like a bad translation of that. Like, Niels Jigger.
You know why I identify with her so much?
Because you're both crazy. Did you see the origin? I didn't realize she had like an origin. She used to be like a lawyer or something badass too, and she just went crazy.
I remember that. I've actually been rewatching Futurama, and I think it was in one of the last seasons they went over it.
Oh, you're talking about the Futurama one. I'm talking about the Simpsons one.
Oh, no.
I guess what if it's the same crazy cat lady? She found eternal youth through cats. Well, eternal old through cats, I guess.
I used to watch, I guess like every other family in the early 2000s, late 90s, we used to watch The Simpsons every day while we ate dinner.
Was not allowed to. Parents were afraid too big of an influence, and Bart Simpson's wildly outlandish behaviors would be super inappropriate.
I know, I was going to say, I know there's families that are all about the, like, you can't watch TV while we're eating dinner, it's family time, which we've never been like that. But I suppose, yeah, the bad influence. My friends' parents are usually very normal, didn't let her play Pokemon, so that happens.
Oh,
It's cruelty to animals.
So I know you mentioned that, too, but there's also, like, I think this was your friend's problem. I've had friends like this, too. Evolution. The fact that was a part of Pokemon made that unacceptable.
No, I don't have any crazy friends with family like that.
Oh, okay. Then just
Thank
some
God.
people I've known, unfortunately. French just hit us up with an 19-month resub, and since we got a bit of downtime, I have no problem reading this. Says, well, what can I say? Best StarCraft stream there is. Thank you for all the great stuff you've been creating during these almost 2 years. Nice, dude. Thank you so much for supporting us for almost 2 years as well. Now, TLO has gone for the tunneling clause aspect of this again, and I really do like the idea. Even if you don't get to use it for the sneak attacks, you don't get to hide 3 roaches in each mineral line, and even if Nerchio sees this coming, I still think the mobility it gives the roaches and the healing factor is not something to be undervalued. But it's something where Nerchio doesn't have detection, so it might just work out for him. It's a Spire coming down. No spores, no overseers. Maybe TLO gets away with this.
Well, of course, there's the visual distinction, which he did notice. So 3 overseers are on the way. That kind of sucks. They're pretty speedy, so they're already going into the main. Nope, they're caught. Dang. Oh, split the overseers. Ah! Ah! Oh, that's still good enough. Never mind.
Yeah, the spread for TLO wasn't as drastic, I think, but it did draw a lot of Nerchio's roaches back to defend, because the idea is that like for every like 1 roach you attack with, it's going to really take 2 to 3 to clean that up. So if you send like 6 in, Nerchio will have to respond with like 9 to 12, and if that much of the army's missing, then it works out better for TLO taking a bigger head-on engagement. But that's not how this has played out just yet. +1 armor's about to finish up here, +2 weapons for Nerchio, so they'll be even on upgrades momentarily.
Right. In fact, even a couple of seconds difference that Nerchio was in the lead right there, and he had a spine crawler that barely helped out. I don't think TLO is going to win this fight.
No,
if he doesn't win this fight, then he's going to lose to Nerchio's Mutaswap or Remax of Roaches, either one.
I think a part of the problem was Nerchio not only had a great advantage here through his defender's fight, but those corrosive bombs were very decisively landing on TLO and not so much landing on Nerchio.
He did take a very decisive lead, so that makes a lot of sense. I mean, they went in there pretty much close to the army supply. I think there's like 10 army supply difference, and now it's 60. So that was about as poor as it could go for TLO, who does not have a follow-up plan here. His surprise factor, his tunneling claws, already didn't work, and it's still not working. No. So, you know, he's just gonna die.
I think the worst part is TLO. Okay, he did see the spire, but he didn't click on it maybe, so he might not have realized it was a spire. I thought it was just like a spore or another spine coming in behind the mineral lines. No infestation pit was started. Only a couple of extra queens just now coming into play. So, okay, I think he's aware that it's a spire. The problem is, like, if he had 2 rounds of extra queens right now and he was sitting at 9, I actually think he deals with these mutas in a very easy manner. But the fact of the matter is he still doesn't have creep spread all over the place. He's using overlords to help bridge that gap. There's not going to be a lot of transfuses, and these mutas will probably lock down some kills. Spores still aren't done. In fact, only just 1 building.
Good news for TLO is 4th base hasn't quite been discovered yet, although creep can be.
Oh! That's an interesting way to dodge out not having transfuses.
That was clever. Queen's still gonna go down, though. They're gonna go down eventually.
TLO, by the way, is just kind of like sporadically putting out the shots, trying to get something fired here. We got another Korean donation coming in, but it's coming up as claps on stream. I'll get that fixed in a second because I have to manually tab out to do it. It's Riamar, though, so thank you, Riamar. We'll get to that in just a sec. Burrows the drones to make sure the mutas can't secure a lot of kills. This is interesting. Nerchio would have gotten away with a lot more for this. 11 workers is not so unmanageable. Especially, there's a lot of queens, too, but unfortunately, there's more mutas coming now, and this might just make this a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think so. It just, whatever Nerchio goes into, he's going to have a lead in. So he's a bank now, he can go into more mutas, he can go into more roaches. He could advance his tech to ultras, too. Like, there's, the world's his oyster.
Oh, shit. Riamar donated $50.
Yes, he did. Thank you so much, Riamar.
And he just gave away a game that was, like, worth $50, too, to the stream. So super extra thank you, Riamar. I'll do the Korean thing in your honor in a moment. So right now, we still got the fight going on, and Nerchio, of course, Riamar just says hi, as expected. Nerchio is gonna go back home to try and stop these roaches over here. TLO had a good idea because these weren't doing anything at home, but unfortunately, even though it does draw the mutas back away, I don't know if this buys him time towards anything. He knows it as well. GG gets called. Nerchio takes the series and gonna move on to the finals.
Very nice.
He is going to have to wait, though, because we got the other semifinals to cast. Guru versus Alive. So, TVZ. Woo. And here you go, Riamar. This is just for you, baby. It's so loud for me. I don't know if it's so loud for the stream or not. It's so loud for me. Anyways. Oh, do you have any final comments? I was just going to send us the commercials, but...
No, I was going to say, since I hear it twice, I'm really glad it's not loud for me.
Oh, yeah, I guess because you got to hear the test. All right, guys, commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a couple minutes with Game 1 of the other semifinals.